The 1971 era UK Elizabeth I new penny coin. Imagine for a moment holding a coin that most people would mistake for everyday loose change, yet in reality, but an astonishing, this is the shocking reality of one of the most mysterious and highly sought-after coins in British numismatic history. And by the end of this story, you'll see exactly why collectors are going absolutely wild for the 1971 era UK Elizabeth I new penny, and why so many people are checking their drawers, piggy banks, and jars of old copper coins in search of this extraordinary treasure. The 1971 new penny was the very first year of decimalization in Britain, a historic shift when the country moved away from the old pounds, shillings, and pence system into the new, modern decimal currency we know today. Overnight, coins changed forever. Gone were the days of 12 pence to a shilling and 20 shillings to a pound. Now it was 100 new pence to a pound. For coin collectors, 1971 became a year to remember, and for the Royal Mint, it was a time of pressure, confusion, and mass production. In fact, more than 1.5 billion new pennies were minted in 1971 alone. That number is staggering. Imagine billions of coins being struck, polished, packed, and distributed into circulation. Some of these error coins show MIS strikes where the design is off-center, meaning the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II or the reverse design of the crown portcullis is not aligned correctly. Others are struck on the wrong plankets altogether, meaning the coin blank used wasn't the right size or metal. These are incredibly rare. Imagine a 1971 new penny struck on a 2-pence blank, or even a foreign blank used accidentally in the minting process. When mistakes like this happen, only a handful survive, and collectors are willing to pay unbelievable sums to secure them. Another fascinating error involves coins where the lettering reads slightly distorted or shows doubling. Known as double-die errors, these coins reveal faint but clear traces of the design being stamped twice. On a normal coin, such an error might add a little value, but on the first year of decimalization, such an error transforms a common penny into a jackpot. The most shocking examples, however, are those struck with misaligned dies or incorrect metallic compositions. Imagine a 1971 new penny struck not in bronze, but in a steel or copper nickel alloy. Such mistakes are so unusual that some collectors argue fewer than a dozen may exist worldwide. And when you combine this rarity with the historical importance of the coin, you start to see why values are climbing into the tens of thousands of pounds. Picture it: an ordinary family in Britain in the 1980s could have had one of these coins sitting unnoticed in a jar on top of a cupboard. A child could have tossed it into a piggy bank. Decades later, that same coin, long forgotten, could be pulled out and valued at more than £20,000. Stories like these are what make the world of coin collecting so addictive, because you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. Now, let's talk about the sales that have shocked the numismatic community. In the last few years, examples of the 1971 era UK Elizabeth II new penny have surfaced at auction, fetching extraordinary prices. Depending on the type of error, values can range from a few £1,000s for minor MIS strikes to well over £30,000 for the rarest known examples. Collectors from all over the globe have been competing to own a piece of this history, driving prices higher and higher. And because of the sheer number of 1971 pennies minted, millions of ordinary coins remain in circulation or in private collections, creating a treasure hunt frenzy. People are checking their coins daily, hoping they might spot an error worth a small fortune. Now here's where the excitement really builds. Auction houses have confirmed sales of certain 1971 error pennies in the range of £20,000 to £30,000, with some private sales rumored to touch even £37,000. These aren't inflated stories, these are real figures that have been recorded in the numismatic world. To put that into perspective, that's the price of a brand new luxury car, all for a single small penny. Imagine buying a coin for face value back in 1971, and decades later discovering it could pay for an entire house deposit. The ultra-rare 1971 era UK Elizabeth V new pence coin, a coin so scarce and mysterious that it has shocked collectors worldwide. Today, we're diving into the history, the errors, and the jaw-dropping values of this incredible coin, so stick with me until the end, because the numbers I'm about to reveal will absolutely leave you speechless. We're not just talking about a few £100 or even a few thousand. This coin has been valued cases, estimates soar to an unbelievable or more. Now let's set the stage. The year is 1971, a monumental year in British history, because this was the year of decimalization. Britain was transitioning from the centuries-old pounds, shillings, and pence system into the modern decimal system we know today. Out went the old confusing currency, and in came the new decimal coins, designed to simplify trade and align with the rest of the world. Among these newly minted coins was the 5 new pence piece, carrying the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, and a crown thistle on the reverse, a nod to Scotland, and a proud symbol of British heritage. Millions upon millions of these coins were struck by the Royal Mint to prepare for decimalization. They were shiny, new, and everyone had them in their pockets. At first glance, it looks just like any other 5 new pence coin from that year. But if you take a closer look, things start to get interesting. Some examples were struck with die errors, where the designs don't line up correctly. Others have MIS strikes where the edges are off-center, leaving gaps or extra blank space. In some cases, the coin plankets, the blank metal discs, before striking were faulty, leading to strange shapes or thicknesses. And then, perhaps most valuable of all, there are the wrong metal errors. Imagine a 1971 5 new pence coin struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps one intended for a foreign coin or a different denomination altogether. That's the kind of mistake that can push values through the roof. Collectors today are willing to pay staggering amounts for them. Think about it. While a normal 1971 5 new pence coin might be worth only a few pence, an error example can fetch tens of thousands of pounds. Auction houses have recorded sales of rare UK error coins at incredible prices. Some MIS-struck 5p coins from the 1970s have sold for thousands. But the 1971 error is on another level altogether. Estimates place its value at £65,000 to £70,000, and some specialists believe pristine examples could even touch £80,000 or more under the right conditions. Imagine finding one of these in an old jar of coins tucked away in your attic. Suddenly, you're holding something rarer than gold, a piece of history that could pay for a luxury car, a once-in-a-lifetime vacation, or even a deposit on a dream home. What makes this story even more thrilling is the mystery that surrounds these coins. Not many are known to exist. In fact, most collectors go their entire lives without even seeing one in person. They're that rare. Some believe only a handful escaped the mint in 1971, slipping unnoticed into circulation. Others suggest they were test strikes or experimental pieces that somehow got released by mistake. Whatever the truth, the fact remains that these coins are among the rarest treasures of British numismatics. Now, let's talk about condition. In the world of coins, condition is everything. A worn example, even of a rare error, might still fetch thousands. But a sharp, uncirculated, mint condition 1971 error 5 new pence. That's where the values explode into the tens of thousands, even reaching that £80,000 mark. Collectors will pay enormous sums for coins with crisp details, brilliant luster, and no signs of wear. And because so few of these coins exist, competition at auctions can be fierce. When one of these coins surfaces, it doesn't just sell, it sparks bidding wars, with collectors fighting tooth and nail to add it to their collection. Think about it for a moment. Most people handle coins every single day. They buy their morning coffee, pay for parking, or toss spare change in a drawer. Yet, hidden in plain sight, one of those coins could be worth more than their car, their holiday savings, or even their retirement account. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the idea that something so ordinary can turn out to be extraordinary. The 1971 error UK Elizabeth II 5 new pence is not just a coin, it's a story. It's a piece of history that captures a moment of national change, a moment when Britain stepped into the modern age with decimalization. And at the same time, it's a reminder that human error, those little slips and mistakes, can sometimes create things of unimaginable value. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins of British numismatic history, the 1971 error UK Elizabeth II pence coin. This is not just any coin. It's a piece of history, a product of transition, and in some cases, a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Stick with me until the very end, because the story behind this coin and the shocking values it is sold for will keep you on the edge of your seat. Now, let's take ourselves back to 1971. this was no ordinary year for British coinage. It was the year of decimalization, when the old system of shillings and pence finally gave way to a more modern decimal currency. This meant new designs, new denominations, and for collectors, a new world of opportunities. The new pence coins were introduced as part of this historic change, and the 2-pence coin quickly became a staple of everyday life. For most people, it was just small change in their pocket. But for collectors, the earliest issues held secrets that would only become apparent decades later. But here's where things get interesting. You see, not all of these coins were struck perfectly. Some left the royal mint with errors, tiny mistakes in striking, planchet, or alignment. And those mistakes, instead of rendering the coins worthless, have turned them into some of the most valuable pieces of modern British coinage. While billions of ordinary 2-pence coins were struck in 1971, the error versions are vanishingly rare, and when they appear at auction, the bidding wars can push their values into the tens of thousands of pounds. Let's talk about what makes an error coin so special. In the world of numismatics, errors are prized because they're not supposed to exist. The Royal Mint is known for precision, for quality, for producing coins that meet strict standards. But every once in a while, human error, mechanical mishaps, or unexpected flaws creep in. It could be a double strike, where the coin is struck twice, leaving a ghostly duplicate image. It could be an off-center strike, where part of the design is missing, and a crescent of blank metal remains visible. Or it could be a planchet error, where the metal blank itself is wrong, maybe struck on a coin intended for another denomination, or with the wrong metal composition. Auction houses have documented incredible sales. In one case, a rare 1971 Elizabeth II new pence error coin sold for over £33,000, another example fetched close to £48,000, and yet another soared even higher, reaching the unbelievable sum of £56,000. Think about that for a moment, a coin that was originally worth just a pence, turning into a life-changing sum of money for its lucky owner. Stories like these are what make coin collecting so thrilling. Every old jar of coins, every drawer of loose change, every forgotten tin in the attic holds the possibility of hidden treasure. And part of the allure of the 1971 new pence coin is its role in British history. Decimalization was a huge cultural shift, and these coins symbolize that moment. To hold one is to hold a piece of the early 1970s, when Britain was changing rapidly, modernizing its economy, and moving into a new era. The fact that some of these coins slipped through the mint with errors only adds to their mystique. They are accidental relics of a pivotal moment, frozen in copper, waiting to be discovered decades later. Collectors prize these coins not only for their errors, but for their condition. As with all coins, grade matters. A 1971 new pence with an error in poor condition might still fetch hundreds or thousands, but one in brilliant, uncirculated, or proof-like state. That's where the values skyrocket. A flawless strike, preserved as though it just left the mint, can add tens of thousands of pounds to the final price. That's why collectors often send these coins to professional grading services, where experts certify their authenticity and assign a grade. A coin graded mint state 65 or higher, with a dramatic error, is practically guaranteed to bring in staggering bids at auction. Now, let's not forget the role of collectors themselves. The UK, like the US, has a passionate community of coin enthusiasts. These are people who spend years, sometimes lifetimes, chasing after rare varieties, errors, and historic issues. For them, the 1971 Elizabeth II new pence error coin is like the holy grail of decimal coinage. It represents not just rarity, but a once-in-a-lifetime chance to own a piece of numismatic legend. And when two or more collectors want the same coin, well, that's when prices explode, soaring higher and higher until the gavel comes down.